Shabana sat down and wept. She said, I am not a dancer.
Couldn't quite comprehend what being in the moment is. Being in the moment, matlab, sur mein dhal jana.
Rajesh Khanna was the phenomenon. I had mugged up all my lines so that I wouldn't flub a single thing. I was totally intimidated by him. Look at all the multiple crores these girls are charging.
Yeah.
Where did we ever charge that kind of money in our time?
Shabana ma'am, Zeenat ma'am, welcome to Film Companion.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you for allowing me on the sets of Bun Tikki, because really I feel there's such a joy to just immerse yourself in the madness and the magic that gets created on a film set, and to speak to actors while they are marinating in it. I've always felt that each set has its own unique energy, a vibe almost. So I want to ask you both, how would you best describe the energy of Bun Tikki and the set, and what are you going to take away from here?
For me personally, I think the project is very charming, very sweet. It's about relationships, and there is this deeper undercurrent than that as well.
Yeah.
And what I will take away from this set is the joy of working with the entire team. Whether it's Shabana, whether it's Manish, who's been such a wonderful producer, and Faraz, and the entire team. It's just been a very joyous experience, much as what the film is about. Yeah.
I think she's put it absolutely perfectly. I couldn't agree with her more. The thing is that I've worked with Zeenat. I'm working with her after a very long time. So this was something that I was really looking forward to, and I'm really glad.
Me too.
I'm glad. And then Manish is a dear friend, and I am so amazed that he's such a mainstream person, and he's chosen to launch his career as a producer with 3 tiny films. I applaud the courage with which he's doing that, and there's something that I've really wanted. Filmmakers who have all the access to money to also give it for the smaller film, which is because what he's backing is content.
Yes, it's
and
a
that
smart
I think
move
is
as a producer.
important. And Faraz, of course, I've had a very delightful experience with, because I did his short film called Sheer Korma. So all of it is nice, and the little boy is very good. He's really good.
Yeah.
And we were in this beautiful hotel in Simla, which is one of my favorite hotels, and it was all rather luxurious for a small film.
May I just say, you look amazing as Manish Malhotra heroines, the both of you.
She's just been styled really extraordinarily well.
Yes, Manish has done such an amazing job with the look for my character, for Sitara.
Yes.
I am so chuffed. I was never a sari person, but he's reintroduced me to saris, and I am reveling in it. And he's a delightful producer. I had a birthday on set. You can't imagine, it was so difficult to locate flowers in Shimla. And he sent me a bouquet that was almost as large as myself. And I was unwell before that, so I was just so touched. And all of them, I mean, they all made it so special. Special.
Yeah. No, you speak of the joy of working together. I mean, I can't tell you how much joy it gives me and us to just see the two of you together. And honestly, I think it's a shame that we haven't found exciting enough work since the early 80s to bring the two of you together. What are your memories of working together as 30-year-olds?
I'll go first. You see, Zeenat was a very big star. When we first did Ishq, 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 she was a very big star, and I just started. It was one of my earliest mainstream films, and I found that she had no starry airs. She was extremely accessible, very warm, and I think that really put Zarina and me and a lot of other people who were in the film at complete ease. Also, we were staying at this fishtail lodge in
So much fun,
Pokhara,
Pokhara.
and it was lots of fun.
Yeah, we had a
I
lot of
remember
fun.
that film is lots of fun.
Yeah, we had a lot
then,
of fun.
Then we did a completely mad film called Ashanti. Tell them about the lavani that we did.
We did a lavani, which you know what a lavani is.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Maharashtrian style dance.
Dance.
And Shabana sat down and wept. She said, I am not a dancer. She's an actor. Multiple national awards to prove that. But she said, I am not a dancer. She cried. And
No, but I said, listen, you have to give me rehearsals. You have to give me rehearsals. Now people do rehearsals for a whole month. That's right, just there on the set. And also PL Raj Master was known for being very, very strict, you know.
was.
And
He
so
was.
I said, you cannot scream. You cannot scream and you cannot yell at me. So he would say, and then want to beat me up because I was not getting the set. And then also go on patiently. And Mithun Chakravarti, who's the dancer amongst us, was just doing the dhol, some rubbish like that. And then I used to also get very amused. I'm sure he's keeping all his frustration down. घर जाके बहुत पिटाई करता होगा अपने बच्चों की. It was completely mad.
yeah, no, but it was also a lot of fun.
You actually posted a picture from Bun Tikki, just looking so glamorous in your avatar as Sitara Jan, and you captioned it, long hours, beautiful costumes, interesting role. It feels like life has come full circle. I was doing this in my 20s. I'm curious to know, has there been a shift? Do you feel it's a better time to be a heroine today, or would you disagree?
Well, the one thing that stands out to me about heroines today is their paycheck. Look at all the multiple crores these girls are charging.
Yeah.
Where did we ever charge that kind of money in our time? No? And of course, the whole aspect of cinema in the sense of all the technicality, that has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go and look at a monitor and see how you can improve your shot and so on and so forth. So these things have definitely changed. For me, this whole thing was a fun, joyous experience, truth be told. In terms of screen time, my presence is minimal, but I'm definitely a part of the heartbeat of the project, a part of the heartbeat. So I was just
What
having
a lovely way to put it.
yeah, you know, I have minimal screen time, but I just love being part of this project.
Yeah.
You know what I envy is the intensive workshops that the younger actors get the time to do. So by the time they reach the set, they're pros at what you're doing.
That is
if you
true.
see Zoya's film Archies, I mean, like Sohana looks as if she was born to skate and she had never stood on a skate. So all that I envy, because that we never had
That's
at
true.
all. And I think that
That's
works
true.
to great advantage. So the kind of confidence with which the newcomers come is really enviable, really.
Yeah.
It's
I
good.
want to talk a little bit about the roles that you play in Bun Tikki. I mean, we're a while away from release, so we don't know anything yet. But we'll be posting this closer to release. So can you talk to me a little bit about in what capacity we can see the two of you?
You know, to me that's a slightly loaded question because I don't know how much of it I'm supposed to reveal. But suffice it to say that it is an interesting pairing, because first you see them as friends, very warm towards each other, and you can see that there is a difference in the way the two persons are. Zeenat's is more quiet, more gentle, God-fearing. Mine is, because I'm a lawyer in that, and much more outspoken than she is. And then you wonder, what is this relationship?
What are the dynamics?
What is the dynamics? And then when you actually see it, you feel, oh my God, this is something we should have noticed all the way, but it's not sensationalized at all. And that's the most interesting aspect of it. This relationship is not sensationalized.
You've got me very curious.
That's the point.
That's the point.
No, but I do want to say, ma'am, you come out of such a delightful performance in Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani, despite the bold scenes, might I add, in quotes. How liberating is it as an artist today to make choices that would have possibly otherwise stereotyped you or boxed you? Do you feel like there is more acceptance? How do you choose your scripts today? Even a sensitive subject like Bun Tikki, for instance.
You know, for me, there is an instinct. When I first hear the script, there is an instinct that this is something that interests me. This is something that I would like to explore. Then, because the writing is king, it is content, really. That is very, very important. The dialogue to me is very important.
Okay.
Earlier, you felt that as long as you know the story, but that's not enough. What the character is speaking, the lines that the character is speaking, do they sound truthful? Do they sound declamatory? Do they look like they belong to the environment? That is a very important consideration for me. And then, do I feel challenged? Because, you know, I've been in the industry for 50 years. I would like to do, even if it's a time, I have absolutely no qualms about doing a small part, big part, kuch bhi nahi. Do I feel challenged by it? That would be my consideration. Sometimes it's just the money. Let's be honest, it's just the money that you like. So there are different reasons, but there's something about the script and the director. I believe that if ever I've been credited with a good performance, the director must take the credit for it, because I'm only as good as my director and my content.
And speaking of the director, I had a little chat with Faraz before we sat down to speak, and he talked to me about how he met you at a hotel in Bombay and started narrating the script, and 5 minutes in you just held his hand and said, "You don't need to convince me, I'm doing it."
Yes, I love the thought. I love the narrative. I love the, when he spoke, what he planned to do and his vision, it was just charming and quaint and sweet and, so positive. So I said, yes. I know Sitara is it's basically a father-son story, and of course the grandmother. And, just to be part of it made me very happy. The grandmother, plus one. Okay.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, 50 years of doing what you do so amazingly. I know that you guys are shooting a very pivotal scene, the climax of the film. And like I said, I love coming and watching actors marinate in their process. Have you identified what works for you right before a shot? How do you get into the headspace? What helps you serve the scene best right before you go into shoot? Because that's where you're going to go when we wrap.
Well, I don't really know about this particular project because the climax is really based on two other characters.
Sure.
And we are part of it, but it's not based on us.
But
For
when
me,
it is?
No, but for me personally, I have to understand my character. I have to know her backstory, whether it is shown visually on celluloid or not. I have to know who she is, where she comes from, what makes her resonate, and what is happening in the given situation. And that's what propels me forward in my performance. And of course, I love to collab with my director and my co-stars, because if there are several of us in a scene, you feed off each other. Yeah. Like this lady here, she's a queen of performance.
Very sweet.
I had such a time watching her work, because she takes what is given to her and just throws it away. It was delightful. Yeah.
For me, because I'm a trained actor, my professor at that time used to say, be in the moment, be in the moment. And I couldn't quite comprehend what being in the moment is. But for me, being in the moment, मतलब सुर में ढल जाना. जो सुर है उसमें आप ढल जाओ. And that to me is the most important thing. And then because of the facility of training and all that, even if it is a disparate shot, you don't have the whole scene in front of you. मगर आप अगर उसमें ढल गए तो फिर वो सच्चाई निकल कर आती है. और मैं कभी अपने एक्सप्रेशंस नहीं प्लान करती कि अच्छा मुझे ऐसे करना चाहिए, मुझे ऐसे करना, जो निकल गया. So it has to be truthful and it has to be in the moment. But I need to know the scene. I need, even if we are just sort of giving reactions, I must read the scene over and over and over again. नहीं तो पता ही नहीं चलता.
Yeah. I had asked Nasiruddin Shah this question once, and I really do want to toss it to the two of you as well. Of course, you have this very well-deserved stature of just being legends and just stalwarts in what you do. But I'm pretty sure no good comes from co-actors being intimidated by your presence. So what do you have to do as artists to ensure that that isn't the energy on set? When you just enter and there's an aura of complete starstruck intimidation, no good can come of that, of course. So how do you make people around you?
Very honestly, I think any actor worth his salt would put that personal aspect aside and pay heed to what has to be done. I mean, I remember it happened to me when I was an ingenue and I started, and Rajesh Khanna was the phenomenon. Oh my God, I had mugged up all my lines so that I wouldn't flub a single thing. I was totally intimidated by him. But did I show it? No.
Not at all.
Oh. I went there and I performed. And then I went back to my makeup room. We didn't have vans there. And I said, oh, wow. I just give a shot with a superstar. So I think, I think that's the right attitude to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But do you find yourself doing anything to make people?
If I'm with younger actors, it's very important to let them feel okay. Yeah. So the thing that I always hear from my younger actors, which makes me very happy, is, oh, she's really cool. Now, I have never been able to understand the difference between cool and hot. I've tried several times to wrap my head around that, but it is so essential for your co-star to feel completely relaxed, because ultimately you are reacting off your co-star, and if the co-star is telling the truth, आपका काम ही कितना आसान हो जाता है. तो उसके लिए थोड़ी मेहनत करनी पड़ती. मैं कभी भी जिंदगी में I don't feel like challenging my co-star, and I cannot bear tension on the set. I like it to be nice so that everybody is relaxed and give of their best. That's the only effort that you have to make.
It's teamwork.
Absolutely.
And the more relaxed you are, the better you perform. You complement each other, and the scene turns out, truthfully.
Correct. I'm actually reminded of the time when Neena Gupta a few years ago took to Twitter to sort of announce that she's a working actor looking for work, and just sort of telling filmmakers that she's here and wants to do good work. I want to ask the two of you, have you ever had a moment of frustration at any point in your careers where you just felt like the industry didn't know how to exploit you to your full capacity? Loaded again?
Not for me. I was very, very lucky. I was just very lucky because, I was at the Film Institute till 30th of April, got the best actor, golden, not globe, but gold medal.
Soon.
And within 3 days, I was already working on my first film. So I have been very fortunate in that way, but I have never had qualms about going up to a director and saying, listen, I want to work in your film. I remember I went to Mrinal Sen and I said, Mrinalda, you have to cast me in your film. You have to cast me in your film. Otherwise, I'll come and do Dharna. So he was very, very amused by that. I never have problems. How can I do that? If I'm dying to work with a director, I'm also giving the director something. ना ऐसा तो नहीं है कि talentless इंसान आके बोल रहा है. So I have enough of this thing कि I don't say कि अरे यार वो role मुझे मिल जाता है. ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ है.
No, I've never really felt like that. Of course, after I had my children, I took a hiatus from work, which was a hiatus of choice. And honestly, like Shabana, if I really want something, I will reach out for it. But yeah, I'll wait till that happens.
It's happening.
Well,
Yeah,
I think the world is now reaching out to me, which is a lovely place to be.
But why don't you say, Zeenat, how unprepared were you for all this that came your way with these Instagram
I was
posts?
going
And she
to
was
talk about
forced.
that.
She was forced to do it by her son, and she said, "No, this is not me. This is not." And she says, "I feel completely overwhelmed because this is not what I had worked for."
Yeah, ma'am, we cannot not acknowledge the collective joy that you have given all of us over the last year by virtue of your Instagram. But are you having fun with it?
Absolutely. I was initially very reluctant to do it because I said, how do you upload this? What do you do? What's going on? What do you do? I was not aware of the technicalities of it at all. So my kids, my son and his partner, they said, just do it. We'll help you with the technicalities and we'll take it forward. And then it just became like an exercise to remember, to write, to think, to post. And I love it because it gives me a voice. I have always been talked about and looked at from other people's perspective. So now I have a voice to express myself and tell it like it is. So that is something that I do enjoy. And like Shabana said, I was just not expecting such a response. And I have been definitely overwhelmed by it. I'm very grateful for it, truly.
But how do you make sure that it fuels you and doesn't feed off you? Because God knows it can be a beast.
Well, because for the precise reason, as I said earlier, I choose to write what I want to write. And it gives me a voice. And really, I have no complaints about Instagram so far. None at all.
Touch wood.
Touch wood, absolutely.
Yeah. Touch wood.
I was talking to Ratna Patak Shah, who told me about how, unfortunately, it took her really long to come to the realization that she wanted to be an actress for the rest of her life, and her face had nothing to do with it, but her acting ability did. And while we have a Helen Mirren and a Meryl Streep, for instance, in Hollywood, why can't we do that for a Waheeda Rehman or for the two lovely ladies sitting in front of me? Do you feel that's happening for us today? The fact that we are just being able to see actresses for who they are and give them...
I think so. And it's largely due to OTT, and because seamlessly the senior actors have become part of the content. Earlier, at 35 you were finished, and then you had a choice of being a bhabhi or a mother जिसके हाथ से थाली गिरती थी और नहीं इस तरह से करें, या कुछ बहुत stereotypical roles were offered to senior people. But today the joy of so many different things that are available, I mean, I'm really consider myself fortunate for that. And also another interesting thing is you don't have the consideration कि अगर नहीं चली तो ठेंगे से अगर नहीं चली तो आप काम कर रहे हो ना, इसकी वजह से ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आपको अगली फिल्म नहीं मिलेगी और they won't consider. So we are free from that rat race. So of course that's a very liberating
feeling.
thing.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And finally, before I let the two of you go, there's possibly an entire generation of Gen Z and millennials who are just discovering your work. So leave me with a piece of your work that you hope that they find and watch. Something that you hold closest to your heart.
Oh my gosh.
Something that you've
This
done.
is very difficult.
It is very
Good,
difficult.
Shabana. It's very difficult because I don't know, for me personally, it was a journey. When I joined films, I was a teenager, and I actually came into it cold. Exactly the opposite of Shabana. Having no knowledge of the language, having no knowledge of acting, having no knowledge of classical India, having no knowledge of nothing. And I learned with every film. And I grew with every film. So why 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you know the craft.
Yeah.
You understand what has to be done. But it's been a journey.
But there must be a piece of work.
There have been
So
so
many.
many milestones along the way. How do you choose one? And for me, I was part of commercial cinema, hardcore commercial cinema. So when you look back, what do you choose? It's difficult. I mean, when you think of in terms of films like Dawn, or Kurbani, or Satyam Shivam Sundaram, or Hare Ram Hare Krishna.
Oh, but they remember all of that, Zeenat. Everybody.
Roti
They're
Kapda
iconic.
Makan, you know. I mean, what do you choose? I never had the opportunity to work in the kind of projects that Shabana worked in, you know. So
You've had your own journey, like you
yeah,
said.
I've had my journey, and difficult to choose one.
I say find them all. Ma'am, for you?
You know, films that people remember today are different. Earlier they used to talk about Ankur. Then a huge section started talking about Earth, because Earth was an iconic film for its times. And even now there's a certain generation of women who come and talk to me about Earth, even now. Then there is a certain section of people who find that fire gave them wings. Then Masoom, because of its songs and all that, a lot of children. But then now, they remember me because of Makdi. So I want to tell them I'm not only like Makdi, guys. I've got something else also coming. So it really comes with the age groups as they are. So you don't know which thing that you hold dear is going to appeal to a certain section. I can't think of a performance where I'll say universally, from a child to an older person, I will be able to. You know, I really hope that film is still to come.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. I mean, what a wonderful note to end this on. What I do know is that what a magical career the both of you have had, and people are just going to keep discovering it forever. That is the beauty of cinema. It's given me so much joy to just see the both of you as working actors today again, and can't wait to see the magic you've created with Bun Tikki. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sneha.
so much.
Thank
It was such a
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.